It's Hanno from Crack and Gate here. So in this video what we'll be doing is just replacing the air filter on the VFR800. So changing the air filter is just a regular maintenance item that everyone should be able to do on their bikes if they're pretty comfortable with doing some mechanical work. So in this video I'm just going to show you some tools that we'd need, the parts for doing the job itself, and also go through the steps of changing the filter on the bike. So we'll run through the tools first. So we're going with the tools. So first thing involved would be to remove the seat cowl from the bike. So in this instance I've got a couple of mismatching bolts. So one's the hex key and the other one's just a Phillips. So we'll be using those to remove those parts. Once after the seat's removed, then we need to undo to lift the tank up. So there's a couple of bolts. So it's just an 8mm if you're in the metric world, and also a ratchet with that. Then moving on, just if you've got like a device, like a tool that's about 30 centimetres, 1 foot, 12 inches, whatever way you want to call it, that's used to help prop the tank up, so you're able to work underneath to access the airbox. And then finally another Phillips head to undo the screws that are on the airbox itself. And also another handy one is this extension tool here. It's got a little plunger with a little claw on it. So what that's used for is to access the bolts at the front of the airbox where it's quite tight, so that comes in handy. And then also got the air filter here. So this air filter I bought online from wemoto.com.au. After looking for air filters locally, there weren't any available for the bike at short notice. So I jumped online, picked this one up for about $60 on the website, and it took about 3 or 4 business days to get to my location. So that was really good. Prompt service, and they had it in stock, which was good. So now we're just going to go through each of the steps and fit the new filter to the bike itself. So as mentioned before, the first step involved, if you do have one fitted, is removing the seat cowl itself. So with that there's a couple of bolts on each side of the frame of the seat cowl, and then there's just a locating tang at the back, so you're able to remove it that way. So what I'll do now is just remove the screws, and then we'll be able to remove the seat cowl itself. The cowl itself is just a matter of pulling up the front end and then pulling it out forwards. It's got the locating tang on there and it fits into the recess in the back of the tail of the bike. So the next step involved is removing the seat from the bike. So as mentioned in one of my previous videos, it's a matter of grabbing the ignition key, using the helmet lock down the bottom here, turning it so the helmet lock's unlocked. Around the back there's a tank. So you push that tang down, lift the back end of your seat up, slide to the rear, and then your seat will come out like that. So we'll put this aside. So then the next step is to lift the front of the tank up. On this bike it's got a hinge at the back end, so that's quite handy. So you undo the 2 bolts at the front, then hinge the bike up using that prop that I mentioned earlier, and then you're able to access the airbox from underneath. So then from here it's just a matter of grabbing your socket, undoing the 2 bolts on the top of the tank, and then removing those. So then once you remove the 2 bolts, put them aside, and then you'll be propping up the tank using your tool, or if you've got a rod that's about 30 centimetres thereabouts, and it's just a matter of lifting the front end of the tank up, sliding it in, and then at the front of the frame here is like a recess where you can sit the rod, and then underneath the tank here there's a couple of there's a rubber mould that sits on top of the airbox. You can sit your rod up against that. So we'll have a close look at that now. So as you can see here, you got the front of the screwdriver. If you got something else and you worry about scratching your frame, then use something with a bit of bunting behind it to stop scratches. And you can see here you got the rod underneath the tank, and there's the rubber moulding here which sits on top of the airbox. So you can use that to prop the tank up. So yeah, just a reminder, when you got the tank up, make sure you don't pull it up too high because you've got fuel lines underneath. So pull it up too much, potentially could rip out fuel lines. So as long as there's a little bit of slack in it, then you should be pretty sweet. And then, so yeah, we're going to pull the top part of the airbox off now. So once you've lifted the front end of your tank up, you'll be able to access the airbox from underneath. If you haven't done the pair valve mod, which involves removing the vacuum line, which is located down here. If you haven't done that, it's a case of removing that first, stowing it away, so that you're able to remove the airbox lid at a later stage. And then it's a matter of going through and removing these seven screws, like securing the airbox together. And there's 2 screws at the front which are quite tight, where that extension tool that I showed you at the start comes in handy. So remove those and we'll get the lid off. So with this tool here, access 2 front bolts because there's not much room, there's pipes in the way and the frame's up close. So you use this extension tool like a claw, come down from the top and just extend the fingers out on it, and then you're able to unscrew the screws from the last bit. Saves you having to drop them down in between the engine and the frame. And it pulls out like that. And it's just a matter of plunging and releasing, and then you're good to go. So from there, once you've removed all the screws, then it's pretty much a case of just lifting the top part of your airbox up. So it's just lifting it up, it's like a clamshell. So as you lift it up, then pull it out through the right hand side or left hand side, whatever your fancy is. And then the air filter more likely will be located still on the bottom of the airbox. As you can see here, you've got the standard air filter. It's normally has like a plastic casing around it, so that it fits in the grooves on the airbox. It's just a matter of pulling it out. It's just like a panel, and then yeah, just swapping it out. So now we've got the air filter out of the bike. We can compare them side by side, the old one and then the new one. The old one looks pretty grotty, should have been replaced a lot sooner, I reckon. However, we've got new filter now, so it's just a matter of refitting it to the bike and doing a reversal of all the steps. You can get K&N versions of this, which are about 3 times more expensive. So depending on your options, if you're happy paying for a paper filter each time, you can do that. If not, you get the K&N option, and then you can wash it and refit it when you're doing your servicing. So we're going to refit the filter and then go back and put the bike back together. So just a reminder with the air filter, it's got this plastic casing around the actual filter itself, and it's got a ridge on the outside. And that ridge sits inside those grooves that are inside the airbox itself. So make sure it's seated properly, nice and flat, and then the lid should fit nice, and then you have a nice tight seal around the seams of your airbox. Now we've got the airbox pulled back together, so it's a matter of just putting all the screws back into it. So on the back end, on the back left hand side of the airbox, we've got these 2 screws which have a little flexible tang on it, which I use to secure some wiring, so make sure you put them in the correct space. Potentially if it does fall apart, then you could potentially put the screw in the wrong way around if it gets in between the rubber. So just ensure that the metal part and the screw go together, and then the rubber is the part that actually holds the wiring in place. So we're going to refit all these 7 screws, and the 7, and also with the screws at the front, just with the flexible claw here, just extend the claw out, grab the screw, and then from there you're able to screw the screw back into the front of the airbox, and you're not dropping screws down into the body, which might involve removing fairings and trying to find screws. So there you go. So now we've got the new air filter in, we've put the top part of the airbox back together and it's all tightened up now. It's a nice clean seal, nice and tight, and it's uniform all around the airbox. So if you like using your pair valve on your bike, then it's just a matter of refitting the vacuum line, and then it's lowering the tank again and securing that with those 2 bolts, so we'll do that. So we've got the new air filter in, the airbox put back together, and we've got the tank lowered and secured now. It's just a matter of refitting the seat and then putting in a seat cowl if you got one of them. And also if you do, typically with VFRs, some people might have luggage racks as well, so just a matter of refitting all that and then your bike's good to go. So again, we're refitting the seat cowl. You've got the 2 bolts to go through these loops at the front end of the cowling. And then at the back here, you've got a locating tank, which fits here in the recess at the back end of the bike. So we're just going to refit that. So there we go. So what we've done in this video is refitted a new air filter to the VFR800. So then all you've got to do now is just a matter of starting the bike up, going for a ride, and just making sure everything works well. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video and you got any feedback, provide some in the comments down below. If you like the video and you want to share it, share the links. And also if you like this type of video or any others on the Cracking Gate channel, be sure to click subscribe so you can stay in touch. As always, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. Cheers.